In this video, we're technically analyzing HSI, which is also known as Hang Seng or the Hong Kong Index, and we're on the monthly chart, as you guys can see. And on this chart, we can see that the market had given us what seems to be an inverted head and shoulders pattern, with this side being the left shoulder, this being the head, and this area over here being the right shoulder. And it has a neckline more or less at that level, and where we have the neckline, it's also a very strong level of resistance at this point in time. And as much as we have this inverted head and shoulders pattern, we might potentially see the market move up to the neckline and potentially bounce off of this area, or even continue to move further up, especially because, in my humble opinion, this inverted head and shoulders pattern started at this level, and ideally I would love to see the market push further up to around this level, which is in line with more or less where it started, especially also because we have this candlestick over here. What it is a bullish candlestick with a small body and quite a long lower wick, and what it tells us is that there's a lot of liquidity stuck there. And by now you guys know that liquidity is actually money that needs to be triggered by the market at one point or another. So there is indeed plenty of scope for the market to head up to around this area over here to grab that liquidity, as well as to complete that inverted head and shoulders pattern. However, in order for this move to happen, I would say that we need to see the market actually close above this very strong level of resistance. It's a very strong level of resistance because we've had multiple rejections at that level, as you guys can see, right? And ideally, I would love to see the market actually push further up, closing above that neckline, which is also a very strong level of resistance, and then seeing the market once again push further down to just test the area. And at this point is where I believe we should be looking for those potential buying opportunities, and ideally we want to see the market push up all the way to this level, which is exactly where I said that inverted head and shoulders pattern started, and also because there's a lot of money stuck here, and you guys know that the markets will always go to where the money is trapped, right? So what I'm going to do right now is just add number one, the neckline of that inverted head and shoulders pattern. We can say that it's over here, and not only is it, as I said, the neckline of the inverted head and shoulders pattern, it's also the, or rather, an area where we have that resistance area. And as I said, we might potentially also see the market actually struggle at this point over here. Nonetheless, there we go, we have our neckline. From here, what I'm going to do is head down to the weekly chart. However, before I do so, I just also want to mark that area at the top, which is carrying all of that liquidity, which is this level over here, right? There we go, right? Anyway, let's head down to the weekly chart and see what's happening on the weekly chart. Let's have a look. And just to recap, remember, on the monthly chart we spoke about how we have this inverted head and shoulders pattern. So what we expect at this point in time is for the market at this point to move up at least to around this level, and at this level we will then wait for the market to close above that area, come back to it, and then potentially look for further buying opportunities. Just keep that in the back of your mind as we proceed. Nonetheless, let's zoom in and see what else is happening in regards to the weekly chart. On the weekly chart, we can also see that as much as we have this huge inverted head and shoulders pattern, we might potentially see a W formation form at this area. And at this point, if the market actually comes to this level, is where I believe we should be looking for potential buying opportunities, right? So should the market come to around this level over here from where it is, I believe that at this point we should be looking for potential buying opportunities, and our first take profit, I believe, should be this level over here, right? Why do I say that we should be looking for buying opportunities at this point? Number one, if I can just zoom out, remember we have this huge inverted head and shoulders pattern. Number two, we can also see that this level over here is a very strong level of support, as we've had multiple rejections at that point, and in the future we might see the market head down to that level, and at that level is where we would look for potential buying opportunities. And if we do find any buying opportunities, our first take profit will be this level over here, which is the neckline of that huge inverted head and shoulders pattern, as well as a very strong level of resistance, right? So what else do we see in regards to the weekly chart? At this point I don't see much really, so what I will do is head down to the daily chart. let's have a look. Here we are on the daily chart, and the first thing that I'm going to do in regards to the daily chart is to add my daily channel. Let's have a look. I could say that the channel is, or rather we could put it in this way, and we can see also that in as far as the daily chart goes, we're still very much in an upward trending market, and chances are that we are going to see the market at some point move further up, because as I said, we are indeed in an upward trending market, right? So what else do we see on the daily chart? On the daily chart, another thing that I can see that is also very much interesting is that, as much as I said to you guys that we may potentially see the market push all the way to this level to test this very strong level of support, and at this point we should be looking for those potential buying opportunities. I hope you guys can also see that on the daily chart we have another inverted head and shoulders pattern, and it's over here, right? I hope you guys can see that, with this being the left shoulder, this being the head, and this side being the right hand shoulder, and it too has a neckline at that point, right? So chances are, guys, that we are going to see the market move further up, right? Having said that, as much as we have this area being the right hand shoulder of that inverted head and shoulders pattern, we might, as I said, see the market actually push further down to just test this very strong level of support and only move further up, especially also because we have this candlestick over here, and what it is a bearish candlestick with a relatively small body and quite a long lower wick, and this tells us that we have a lot of liquidity stuck at that point, and liquidity is money that needs to be triggered by the market at one point or another. So it is quite possible that we might see the market move further down to around this level to grab that liquidity and only move further up and also give us this very nice W structure, or we may also see price from where it is more or less at this area move further up to complete that smaller inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? So I'm just going to add a neckline for that inverted head and shoulders pattern as well, which is over here more or less, right? We could say the neckline is over here, and remember the neckline is also a very strong level of resistance, as we've had multiple rejections at that level, and as much as the anticipation is for price to move further up, what may possibly also happen is we might potentially also see the market only push to that level to test it, and only from this level push further down. So we just need to be careful in as far as HSI is concerned and buying decisions go, right? Anyway, what else do we see on the daily chart? Another thing that I see on the daily chart that is very much interesting is that we had a triple top over here, as you guys can see, which had a neckline at that level. Whenever it comes to these triple tops, what normally happens, guys, is a lot of traders and investors usually sell on that first or rather on that second leg of the triple top, because the anticipation would be that the market is giving a double top, and then again in the future we see them selling again at that point because they can see that it's a triple top. What they do also is they place their stop losses just above, right? So there's a lot of money stuck in and around this area, and that money needs to be triggered by the market. So there is plenty of scope for the market to actually move further up, because not only do we have, as I said earlier, guys, this inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? And that we need to see the market actually move further up. We also actually have a lot of money stuck here, and it may be that at this point over here where we have the triple top, the market was actually creating a trap so that people can sell and place their stop losses at this level, only for the market in the future to move further up to trigger all of those stop losses and also move further up again to grab the liquidity that I spoke about above, right? Another thing that tells me that there's plenty of scope for the market to move further up is that if you look at this point over here, we have a gap, and gaps are very much similar to those candlesticks that are liquidity candlesticks, in that they too are carrying liquidity. So there's also plenty of money at this level where we have that gap. So as I said, guys, there's plenty of scope for the markets to move further up, and at this point in time my bias is for the market to move further up. From here, what I'm going to do, guys, is head down to the H4 chart, and on the H4 chart I'm just going to fix my channel somewhat, so just bear with me while I do so, guys. There we go, there we go, there we go. And just to recap, remember on the daily chart we spoke about how we have this inverted head and shoulders pattern, with this side being the left shoulder, this being the head, and this being the right shoulder. And to add to that, we said that the neckline of this pattern is over here, and that if we do indeed find any buying opportunities at this point, our first take profit should be this level over here, which is where we have this very strong level of support, and which is also the neckline of that inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? And I also spoke about how we had a triple top over here, and a lot of traders and investors actually sold at this point and at this point, and they place their stop losses at that level, and that there's a lot of money stuck at that level, and there's plenty of scope actually for the market to move further up to grab all of those liquidity points, right? Anyway, let's zoom in and see what exactly is happening in regards to the H4 chart. Let's have a look. Let's see, right? So on the H4 chart, we can also see that the market had given us this very nice W structure, which had a neckline at that point. And you guys know that whenever we have W structures, we want to see the market closing to the upside of that neckline, coming back to the neckline to test it, and at that neckline is generally where we look for those potential buying opportunities, especially if the neckline aligns with any key numbers that we have on the Fibonacci retracement tool. However, we can see that price came back to the neckline to test it, but the neckline was not able to hold price, right? And we can see that the current H4 candle is moving down, and one of the reasons why this candlestick may be moving down, or rather why we're seeing some momentum at this point, is also because we have another W structure over here. It's an overextended W structure because that first leg is much lower than that second leg. And similar to M structures, whenever we have these W structures as well, what also happens is that a lot of traders and investors buy on that second leg of the W structure, and they place their stop losses just below. So there is also a lot of money stuck here in the form of stop losses, and we might actually see the market move all the way to this level to grab those stop losses, only to move up afterwards to give us this very nice W structure. I hope you guys can see that, right? I hope you guys can see that, right? And I just want to stress and emphasize that at this point, all I'm doing is just speculating and just showing you guys some of the possible outcomes that we may experience in as far as HSI Hang Seng is concerned, right? So that is it in as far as my analysis goes. At this point, I don't see much in as far as buying or selling goes. However, should the market move further down to around this level, I believe that at this level we should be looking for potential buying opportunities. Even though we do have this trend line over here, there's plenty of reason for, in my humble opinion, the market to continue to move further up. Another thing that I also want to mention is that as much as we have a lot of stop losses stuck in around this area, as we have this W structure and a lot of traders and investors actually buying at this point, just also bear in mind that we also have a gap over here. And I said to you guys that gaps are areas where we have a lot of liquidity, and liquidity is money that needs to be triggered by the market. So we could say that there's a lot of money stuck at this point, and we may see the market move further down to grab the money that's at this level, and then only move further up to give us, as I said, this very nice W structure.